Director Luca Guadagnino recently came out with the film Challengers in 2024, starring Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, and Mike Weiss. Thank you, musical gods. The film centers around the three in an intriguing three-way that I don't want to be a part of. What? The film is a love triangle, and it's not Twilight by any means. I haven't even seen Twilight. I don't really plan on seeing Twilight, but it's not three people who are adamantly in love with each other, completely infatuated that that's their only desires in life is to love another person. It's the opposite of that, actually. In the film, it's a populous? Is that even a word? Architectural firm? Let's just say popular. It's a popular opinion, especially around the time the film came out, that Zendaya's character, forgot her name, Tashi Duncan. Tashi is the villain, the antagonist of the story. And though I don't think it is really good to cheat on your significant other or mistreat your significant other at that, she's not a villain. How would you even describe the villain? Well, let's go back to the structure of a story and what makes a story a story. We have a protagonist, the main character that drives the story. The person that the audience is supposed to cheer for. That can differ, especially in media that has come out recently, such as Euphoria, also starring Zendaya. But we see a glimpse at human nature and how even though these are the characters that we as an audience are supposed to define as the protagonist, as the hero of the story, they're not necessarily heroes. So with that being said, in film, an antagonist is a character or force that opposes the protagonist or main character of the story. Film in itself is a very subjective matter, although when it comes to like film awards and critics and stuff like that, it can feel very one-sided. You're kind of led to believe that, you know, if someone starts throwing like a bunch of Glenn Powell at your face, you're just supposed to accept it and be like, oh my god, Glenn Powell is such a good actor. As all art is, it tells a story and influence you based on your life experiences to believe what you think is right or wrong. Circling back to Challengers, Zendaya's character Tashi Duncan is seen as an antagonist. We're here to mainly cheer on Mike Weiss's character. What is his name? Who are these people? I can't even remember their names. And spoilers ahead, but if you're watching this video, why are you watching this video? We see Art as this almost like helpless guy. He's so in love with Tashi. He has a daughter with her. He loves her. He just wants to do his best for her. But his heart is not in tennis anymore. If anything, his heart is so much in Tashi that because her heart is in tennis, he put that upon himself to want to do that for her. So you would think that, okay, so we empathize with Art because he's getting treated bad? Who the fuck is the protagonist of this film? Because it's kind of hard to empathize with Tashi and Patrick, especially since Tashi is cheating on her husband and Patrick is just a douche. I mean, even in the beginning, when they had this little, what is it called? Menage a trois. It was implied that Tashi is kind of the holding the strings of these two little puppets, telling them to make out. Throughout the film, it's kind of the themes of that she has control over these two guys. It's almost as if she is the antagonist to go against their protagonist forces. Who the hell is leading this film? What if there's no antagonist? The 2017 film that I feel like really put Luca in an international spotlight is the film Call Me By Your Name, starring Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer. Any personal accusations aside, I would really just like to focus on film analysis, because cannibalism is a whole other topic that I just can't do. I had written an essay about this in my last semester of being a cinema and television arts student at Cal State Fullerton. Go Titans! I graduated, if you didn't know. never felt more lost in life. Call Me By Your Name is described by Peter of the Toronto Star is one of the most romantic movies and also one of the best. Keep that in mind. Not to mention that it ranked number 40 on Rolling Stone's 50 best movies of the 2010s. I don't know if you're aware, but there's a lot of years in the 2010s. And to be number 40 of all movies of the 2010s, that's kind of a big deal, no? To which Rolling Stone also described it as a love story and a coming-of-age romance. Aw, cute, right? It also received 4 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actor for Chalamet, Best Original Song, and Best Adapted Screenplay, which they won. It also served the purpose of normalizing a gay relationship in film, with the director Guadagnino stating that the intention was not to make a gay movie, but to make the beauty of the newborn idea of desire. As you can see, Call Me By Your Name is a pretty world-renowned film for its efforts, its videography, photography, holographies, acting, cast, location, anything you can think of that had to do with the parts of making this film to create that one beautiful piece. Which is why I'm here to call it ugly. It's not ugly. I liked it. I liked the film. But let me ask you this. Is there also an antagonist in that film? Timothée Chalamet plays the 17-year-old Elio, who comes to fall in love with the 24-year-old Oliver, played by Armie Hammer. You can see where I'm going with this. And if you're not, let's get there. I think it's gross. Now, in addition to Oliver being 5 years older than Elio, he is actively living in the house that he was invited to by Elio's father to study and work for him as a graduate assistant. Totally normal, right? Everyone likes to have the cliche, you don't choose who you love, blah blah blah, age is just a number. Fucking yeah, age is just a number when you're like, I don't know, 40 and someone else is 50, but 17 and 24, you would think that's not a big of an age gap. But let me tell you from experience. Let's say it like this. I am 22 years old. I'm turning 23 in December. It is currently August 27, 2024. When I had presented this in my class full of other almost college graduates, everyone was maybe 22, 21. We had like one 19-year-old, but that's besides the point. Maybe even one 30-year-old. I can't even remember. I literally asked the class, think about your age and think about if you would even go after someone who is barely coming out of high school. Would you do it? I don't usually make really good points. Like, I'm kind of stupid. I'm not stupid, but I say a lot of like dumb shit. You should have seen everyone's faces when I tell you how good that point hit. It's hard to imagine it because when you have experienced a number of years, even if it's just a little bit of years, you have gone through a whole life. I can't even remember what it feels like to be 18. And now that and this is this shit that like Demi Lovato was talking about and stuff like that. Now that I'm almost 23, the age that I had met my ex-boyfriend, I could not imagine doing that to someone, especially someone who feels like a kid. Hold up. Hey guys, I feel like I forgot to mention an important part. Because it is set in Italy, the age of consent there is younger than 18, which is why I bring up the whole legality thing. People will use that as kind of an argument that, oh, it's okay that this relationship is happening because of the age of consent. So keep that in mind. The legality of situations can be overlooked, especially when it's like, oh yeah, she's almost 18 and he's like 23 and graduated college working full time. What the? Don't you understand that it's not a matter of the number? It's a matter of the number of life that person has not lived compared to the other person. When I was 18, I was so in love. I didn't know anything. I don't even think I know anything now. I feel like the more I learn about life, the more it feels like I know nothing. As I am a person with flaws, with something new, I am always trying to understand. It's understandable that Oliver can be seen by a large number of people that he is not a villain, but more so someone who has also fallen in love with someone he didn't choose to fall in love with through a bond that kind of connected them in a way that, I don't know, we as humans we just want to connect with people. We're humans, and all of us, no matter what it is, no matter how we were raised, all kind of see the world a little differently. And we're not all gonna see the world the exact same. Some of us may come to the kind of same understanding, but reality of the situation is that none of us share the same brain. You're never gonna know exactly what I'm thinking, and that's hard. The controversial take that I have is that when that is being promoted in a light where we're being actively told that it is correct and we're supposed to cheer this on or whatever, I think that is problematic. And it's not just me just saying words. What brings a movie together is not just the idea of a director. It's the actors. It's the costuming. It's the location. Why did they cast Timothée Chalamet, who at the time was an up-and-coming actor? I'm not trying to diss you, Chalamet, but like, he is on the skinnier side. Have those boyishly good looks. He was literally Willy Wonka. You see him compared to Armie Hammer, who, I don't know a lot about Armie Hammer, but when I was doing research on him, he was, being cast in roles where he's this macho man, hairy guy. Even in the film, Timothée Chalamet is seen as like this hairless little baby boy, while Armie Hammer is so hairy. He was so hairy. And in film, even though there are happy accidents, most of the things that are done are for a reason. The costuming made Chalamet have a more innocent, naive personality to him. The costuming and casting being put together, and in addition to that theme of this being a romantic film, it's a little bit hard to not see past what they were kind of doing in an effort to explore that experience of coming of age and realizing, likes and dislikes and the confusing nature of what it means to grow up. They implemented an idea that it was okay for someone much older, someone with more life experience and more maturity, to go after someone who knows nothing about the world. Not to mention that this place was filmed in Italy. Italy, of all places. The song that won Best Original Song, when it was playing like the scene, I'll play a little clip of it. There it is. I don't want to get copyrighted. This scene just flaunts passion. It's obvious that their relationship means something, and it's more than just someone, taking advantage of someone else, but it's also about the complexities of the human nature. And that brings us back to the question that I had asked earlier: who's the antagonist? Call Me by Your Name, like a lot of films that aren't Marvel's superhero movies, like a clear distinction between who is the good guy and who is the bad guy. It's seeming to me that the idea of antagonist isn't necessarily in human form. It's also in big, hairy monster form named Armie Hammer. At this point, Guadagnino, you're the antagonist. You're on my list. I think when it comes to films like these, the antagonist isn't a physical or even concrete thing. I think it more so displays who we are as people and how we react with one another, how we interact with one another. It's a beautiful thing to see, don't get me wrong, but in some cases where there's an obvious gap, it's okay to accept incompatibility rather than force something that feels wrong or is wrong. That's enough talking for me today. There was a lot more that I had wrote, but that was a 10-page essay that I would rather not look over again. It's good seeing you guys, and I'll see you next time. Stay in school. And don't go after minors!
Mustard on the beat, ho, deep, bow, any rap. Be the feet, though, man down, call it ember lamp, still breathe, bro, nail it to the cross. Tizo, what's up with these jabroni? What's a jabroni? Fuck them all and they mama.